Live from the City of Angels. Tuesday night. We haven't done one of these Tuesday night streams in like 6 months. April Fool's Day. But it's not April Fool's tonight. It's time to discuss CinemaCon Day 2, Warner Brothers, Lionsgate, also the big story breaking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel directed by David Fincher. Is it an April Fool's joke? We won't get fooled again, people. Oh no. Welcome to MMT, yeah. We'll also be joined by Scott Menzel here tonight live from Vegas. He sat through both presentations today and then yesterday for Sony. Made a video about that last night. If you check that out, we can discuss that in detail tonight on MMT Live, as always. Well, whenever we're live, which is more than most channels, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's go straight to Warner Brothers here, because the big ticket item tonight for them was Superman, right? Of course it was, because that's the movie that's coming out this summer. As you guys know, it's the hope that it'll revitalize the DCU as James Gunn puts forth this film. Over $300 million budget. That's the rumor. I'll look into that in a second. But let's have a look at exactly what was shown today at CinemaCon, because I know that the cast was there. So let's go ahead and pop that up. Welcome again here to MMT, live from the City of Angels. As always, here comes, yes, indeed, David Cornsweet and the rest of the Superman cast as they are trying to sell this thing as we're getting into crunch time. It's almost here. Here's their 9-second pitch for their promo that's going to play during Minecraft this weekend.
Hey guys, we have something really special for you.
It's an extended preview of Superman.
You can check it out in theaters soon. We can't wait for you to see it.
And soon is Thursday for Minecraft. I'm sure you're all stoked to go see a Minecraft movie. I know, not a movie for us. We've already talked about that ad nauseum back to Sunday night. This is a movie for the kids to play the video game, okay? We can just go check it out and go, I don't even understand what the hell's happening, okay? But they're trying to get those that would never see this. Hey, it's an extended look at Superman. Let's go see a Minecraft movie. That's exactly what the play is here. And, you know, hey, pretty smart, I would say. Here they are again at the convention there, CinemaCon in Vegas. There is Clark and Lois, another picture of them looking longingly into each other's eyes. I wonder, is she married? I don't think he is he? Because you know how that goes, right? You're on a movie set together for months and then bang, we've got a relationship. Look at Sydney Sweeney, who apparently is now seeing her co-star in, what was the name of that movie? The one that wasn't very good, but it did pretty well at the multiplex. Glenn Powell's a stud. So, of course, he's going to bang Sydney Sweeney. Did Weber just say that? That's terrible. You are just the worst. Get your mind out of the gutter, man. Let's go to the latest from Deadline as we get everything that happened here today in Vegas. Again, Menzel coming up probably at 8 o'clock, so we got about 20 minutes to stall. No one's better at stalling than me. If you've ever watched this channel, ever watched the show, you know I can talk for 4 hours about Avatar 2 and how much I hated it. It was 3 hours, but close enough. James Gunn's Superman flies into CinemaCon with Fortress of Solitude and crypto footage. You guys know I do not like crypto. I don't have crypto, the coin, and I'm not into crypto, the dog. I'm a cat guy. But even if I weren't a cat guy and I were a dog guy, I still think the whole thing of Super Dog is goofy, right? I know it's from the comic books. I get it. It's the lore. Don't pitch me on that shit. The fact there's a dog wearing a cape in 2025 is dumb as fuck. Okay, it just rings goofy, and it belongs in the league of super pets, which I never saw. Did you guys see that? Or did I watch that? I don't even remember if I saw it. That's how forgettable it is, or was, or I don't know. But it is, and that's what you're going to center all of this about. I can't wait to ask Menzel how this went down. Hey, everybody, here's Superman. Let's talk about the dog. You're like, what? Wait, what are you doing here? We're talking about Superman. Why are we talking about Crypto? What a treat. The most heartwarming part of the Superman trailer back in December, an extended look on Tuesday night at CinemaCon when the Man of Steel met his dog Crypto. Ugh. Yeah. He whistles for Crypto, who jumps on his wounded master. He drags Superman into the fortress where they're greeted by robots who fix him up. There's nothing more thrilling than reading the blow-by-blow trailer detail synopsis that is given to us by everyone in attendance at CinemaCon, in this case, Deadline, right? It's just like riveting stuff. Much of the same imagery from the December trailer played. Back in the fortress, the Man of Steel scolds Crypto for wrecking the joint while he was gone. Oh, no, this is going to be so awful. Can you imagine? We've got to sit through a scene where he's like, Crypto, bad dog. How dare you destroy my fortress of solitude and piss on my bed? Like, what am I watching? Man, directors, will you stop putting goofy shit in your movies? Oh, we're getting to one battle after another. And apparently, Menzel said the trailer they showed tonight was like, remember, not a fan of Inherent Vice. Definitely not Licorice Pizza. This is in that camp. Why can't we do another Master? Why aren't we doing another Magnolia? There will be blood. I don't care. Anything but an Inherent Vice. I know it's the same author, but still, can't we just take that material and get rid of all of the, hey, look, I'm a weirdo. This is some goofy shit, and this is going to ring weird to you. I hate that stuff. And this already is like, what? The dog's ripping up the Fortress of Solitude. The robots who were supposed to look after him, the dog, could care less. This is not what I want to watch. Another comedy-driven CBM, right? You know, listen, I like The Flash. I know a lot of you hated that movie. The Flash had some great moments of humanity in there, right? With him and his mom in the grocery store. That's when that film soars. Or when he saves the girl in the shop or whatever, he comes out. I forget the scene. You know, it's been a while since I've seen it. But I liked it a lot more than you because I like the grounded stuff. As soon as we start doing the goofy stuff, I am not into it. And Crypto just screams. In fact, he should be called Goofy the dog, right? Literally borrow from Disney that and put it on his cape. I don't know what he's thinking. I mean, Gunn, and I like James Gunn, okay? There's no one who could make Guardians of the Galaxy the way that he did than James Gunn, right? That movie is a singular directorial imprint. That's what we love. That's what we want. We always want to see a director give only their particular unique vision on something. So hopefully the dog, unfortunately it doesn't sound like it is, but hopefully Crypto is sidelined for much of the film. Because if Crypto runs throughout the entire film and I've got to deal with bad dog for pissing on my bed, I swear to you, I might walk out. No, I'll sit through it. I have to. I wanted to walk out of Mickey 17, another Warner Brothers movie. Warner Brothers in trouble, right? We've discussed this numerous times over the past several weeks. You've got Alto Nights, a film I did walk out of. Mickey 17, a film that never should have been made. A lot of you hate Joker 2. I liked it a lot more than you guys. But overall, Warner Brothers, they're getting ready to sack their co-film chairs because everything they've released has been garbage lately. I mean, how do you have a job in this town? If you haven't watched The Studio, you gotta watch The Studio because it's a lot about Warner Brothers. You can tell it's shot at Warner Brothers. A lot of the stuff is just, tangential to that. You've got to watch the Apple's The Studio. Oh my God. But when you look at these executives who have jobs after a Mickey 17, there's no defense for that shit. So now I've got Crypto, and this is just going even further south. Said Gunn prior to the footage about his inspiration. Back in 2018, I was first offered Superman, and I was like, oh my God, this seems so cool. It seems hard. And then they also said, we wanted you to do the Suicide Squad, and I took the easy way. It was an R-rated movie about a bunch of ragtag heroes. Thank you, no shit. But it stuck with me, and it was constant throughout my experiment in my mind, the thought was, how can you take a character like that, perceived as old-fashioned by many, so many permutations throughout the years, how can you do it for a modern audience? And one day it suddenly hit me in a burst, and I wanted to do a story that was utterly human, utterly fantastic, and it has crappy Crypto the dog. I mean, I added that line. But you guys, come on, man. Nobody's defending Crypto. Safik, I'm not changing my mind about Crypto unless they change Crypto to a Siamese cat. It's the only way I'm going to accept any kind of animal in my CBMs. Okay? Even if he's part of the comic books, I don't care anymore. Give me some nasty, dark shit like Joker. Or just grounded, right? Why do I always have to have goofy shit show up in my movies? I want less goofy and more depression in all of my movies. I don't care what the movie is, even if it's a family movie. I want something at the end that rips your heart out and makes you leave the theater going, damn, right? I'm sorry. I know I'm alone on that. Most audiences hate it. That's why they always get the low cinema score, because someone dies and like, oh no, someone died that I loved. That's life. Life isn't pretty. Life's ugly. One of the reasons Up in the Air is the great film that it is that he doesn't get the girl at the end. Same thing with La La Land. They don't end up together. I want to watch that movie. I don't want to watch where everybody holds hands at the end and everyone makes it out okay. I want a couple people to die. And if Crypto dies, then I will be happy with Superman. I hope Crypto gets thrown off of the Empire State Building at the end of the movie, and his cape falls off, and he smashes into the pavement. Oh, now you've done it, Weber. You've said a lot of inflammatory things on this channel, but now you're advocating for animal abuse and Crypto in particular, and we are done. We were almost done before, but now we are 100% done with MMT. Good. That's what I want to see at the end of this movie. This is a movie that celebrates kindness and human love and Crypto. I want people to have the magical feeling when they come out of the movie, they love the person they came with a little more than they went in. And that means no one's dying. I don't want to watch that, James. You're a dark son of a bitch. Remember the tweets that James Gunn sent from way back and almost got canceled? That's some dark shit. Where's that James Gunn? What happened to that guy? I know he's still there, James. Don't pretend it's not. So you're telling me that all of a sudden he's the kumbaya James Gunn. That's what we're going to get. This oh, God, Weber's going to rage against America. No, I'm just saying, the feel-good, Star-Spangled Banner Superman shit. I don't want to watch that. The flying dog, the giant kaiju. It says kaiju. Is that right? It's kaiju, isn't it? Why is it not spelled right here? Pocket universes, odd things that were in Max Fleischer cartoons. It took a long time to get there. Said Gunn, the Guardians of the Galaxy filmmaker took inspiration from his late dog for Superman's dog. Oh, God. Okay, guys, I can't anymore with Superman. I can't talk about it. I don't want to do it. Let's talk about other things. Feel free to pipe in any comments. I'll look at them as I continue to rage about Warner Brothers screwing me over and over and over. When's the next good film? And I like Joker too. Final Destination. That's not going to be good. Right? Extended footage. Did you see the trailer for that? It looked like it was like a student film. It looked garbage, man. It looked like a TV show, like student thing. It was bad. F1, we're very excited for. They got to see the first 10 minutes of that. That's Brad Pitt, and that's Apple, who gave it to Warner Brothers, and they're going to distribute it globally because F1 is the biggest thing around the world except for the United States. I don't know if that's going to affect the box office here in the States. It's Pitt, right? It's got a lot going for it, I think, from a big IMAX perspective, and that's how these movies go now. If your film does not have that PLF urgency to it, then you're in trouble, okay? And now, if you notice, almost every film has a shot in IMAX because they want that IMAX crowd. Most people, when they're going to movies now, they only see IMAX, Dolby, Prime, 4DX is massive for Regal, right? Twisters did insane money in that auditorium. So you look at that's the trend going forward. The bigger, louder, crazier amusement park-ish screens, that's what people want to go and spend their money on. It's not good news for small films that we love, like A Ballad of Wallace Island. Saw the other night. You get it this weekend. Really like that film, but it's a small film, right? You could watch that at home easily. I mean, I, of course, always recommend going to a movie theater as long as you don't have jackasses on their phones. So that's the problem, though, is that most people now want to go watch the big event movie, the tent pole, right? The 4-quad. They don't want to watch the half-quad film or 1-quad or maybe 1.5. They just don't want to watch that stuff. They want to wait for it at home. And that's why we need windows back. And we'll talk about that more at length probably on Thursday and also on Sunday because a lot of that discussion's going on at CinemaCon as well. But we have enough tonight as it is to not get into that. Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride was pushed out of this year into next year, and that's not a good sign. Why? Because if the film's ready to go, I want to go ahead and unload that during award season. When you push it into March of 2026, you instantly signal to the world that we have another Mickey 17. Remember, I called that about Mickey 17 when they moved Mickey 17 to March, okay? I said that means they know it's garbage. And they had to know. I mean, it's right there in front of you. Anyone who sat through Mickey 17 knows not a good film. Even if you weren't as brutalized as I was by it, you know that's not a great film. Okay, I'm telling you now, I'm not going to pull up the Rotten Tomatoes of all the people who recommended the film. I'm letting you know that if anyone if you want to do some research on someone, you go look and see what they said about Mickey 17. If they gave it 9 out of 10, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, they're done. I mean, it's not, you don't ever need to listen to anything they say about anything. There's no opinion that ever matters in the future. It's over. And I'm not kidding. And those of you who are offended by that, too fucking bad. You don't know what you're doing. You have no taste. Your taste aligns with the smallest portion of the movie-going pie, and even then, it's unbearable, okay? It's Megalopolis horrible, okay? The only thing that makes it better is it's a better-made film, but it's just as intolerable. Oh, my God! Man, the guy next to me got up and left. I tell you, I don't ever see that. Just got up 20 minutes and I'm out of here. And he went for his money back. And I don't blame him. If I didn't have A-list, I would ask for my money back during Mickey 17. Mark Ruffalo, one more time, those who've never watched it, I'm here to tell you, Mark Ruffalo, that is the most embarrassing performance I think I've ever seen in a film. Mark Ruffalo's career has gone so far into the shitter. I don't care about his politics. We're not talking about his politics. The last two performances, that and Poor Things, are two of the most laughably awful performances that I've ever encountered in a movie theater. And this guy thinks he's like razzing Trump. I wish he were. I wish it was actually a character that was sort of based on Trump. I don't know what he was doing. Was he doing Brando? One of the worst things you've ever seen. If you haven't seen it, wait till it comes on digital. Is it on digital? Probably is. So bad. But The Bride is now in 2026. That's never a good sign. It's the Mickey 17 date. We'll just call it Mickey 17. Mickey 17 Frankenstein. Good luck. Good luck on that one. Oh, but it's Maggie Gyllenhaal. She's a female director. I don't fucking care. I don't care if she's a female director. When did I ever care about that? When have I ever come on here and said, oh, a movie's great because it's directed by a woman? I said a movie's great, St. Maud. Aftersun. Oh, and it's directed by a woman. Who cares? It's a great movie. We don't talk about that. Who talks like that? Anybody who talks like that, go ahead and disregard them. So recommend Mickey 17 over. And also, do you think that a female director deserves bonus points because she's female? Hell no. You're canceled. So there's people you just need to not listen to. Anybody who does that shit, okay? We don't play that. We don't do the DEI. We don't do the sex shit. We don't care. I don't fucking care. I don't care who the director is, where they're from. All I care about is the movie good. So I don't care, Mick. I don't care who directed this. The fact that it's in 2026 in March is a horrible sign. Zach Krager is back with Weapons, and that is the filmmaker who gave us Barbarian, a film that even though I had plenty of issues with, it is essentially a ripoff of Don't Breathe on the back end. And anyone who doesn't see that, wake up, go watch Don't Breathe, watch Barbarian. You'll be like, holy shit, it's the same fucking stuff. So many people steal ideas and then pass it off as their own, okay? And that's what happened with that film. Weapons sounds interesting. From the trailer, they're saying it has something to do with missing kids and a teacher. Oh, it sounds like totally twisted. One thing I'll give Barbarian, And I always love this in a film. I didn't know where it was going to go with all of the actor stuff and the sexual assault charges. All that was wild, right? That adds so many layers to the traditional haunted house, zombie in the basement, impregnating people just like Don't Breathe. So when you look at that film, if he can do the same thing here with weapons, then we're talking about something I'll probably be interested in. Because even though I don't think Barbarian is a great film, I'd rather watch a Barbarian than most of the horror films I've been sitting through, certainly anything from Sony, right? The past year, that Tarot, what was like Hard Eyes? Wow, guys, these are some truly awful films. So I'm stoked for Weapons, and that comes out later this year. I believe it's August. Same thing they did with Barbarian. An August film, September film that gets that late, school's coming back, horror seems to find footing there. It's a weird month, right? August is weird because the beginning of the month is really big, and then by the middle to end, everyone's like, we're done with the movies for the summer. That's why you see the majority of films try to drop in late July, very early August, latest, because once we get past that, you're running out of space because school starts and everyone goes, we're not going to the movies. NFL football, college football, and it becomes not nearly as big a focal point as it is in June, July, and then early August. Barbenheimer came out late July, as you guys know. That summer was absolutely loaded. You had Spider-Verse, you had Mission Impossible. There were too many films. Was that 2023? Good God, time flies. 2023 summer had too many things, right? Look at the Indiana Jones and Dial Disaster. Another film that was just crammed in there. They should have spaced that out. I think Hollywood's got to do a better job of that. Give me more time to digest these things. We have had weekend after weekend of forgettable films for how many weeks now? I mean, literally 4, 5, 6. Box office in March is some of the lowest we've seen since, I think, even pre-pandemic, way before. Okay, pandemic, whatever. And that's not good for movie theaters because there hasn't been anything. Snow White bombed, as we all know, and we knew that was probably in trouble. And this weekend is Minecraft that will actually open to about 60 or higher. It could go as high as 75 or more. This is a kid film, right? If you're like, I don't want to see it, don't worry. There's plenty of kids who do. So you got to understand that not every movie's for you, certainly for me, and Minecraft's one of those. I'll see it Thursday. We'll talk about it Thursday night, in addition to what else happens at CinemaCon. But I mean, I'm not going to evaluate that based on me wanting to see it. I'm going to say, does it do what it's supposed to do with that franchise, with that video game that's beloved by a bunch of 12-year-old kids? Okay? And is it at least in that spirit? And then you've got DiCaprio kicking off the footage, the entire presentation here from Warner Brothers today with footage from one battle after another. And I talked about that at the beginning. I'm not sold on this film because of the tone. Tone is everything in a film for me, right? If you're going to try to mix tones, if you're going to try to do comedy drama, right? Dramedy, you've got to be very skilled as a filmmaker. You have to be able to mesh all of that so that it isn't jarring where you're all of a sudden going from first gear to fifth gear to first gear, and then you're moving all. You've got to be able to, again, as I like to say all the time, mesh. And you look at a Parasite, you talk about a jarring tonal switch at the end, but somehow Bong is able to go from the comedy to the horror, then back to the pathos of the end with dad inside the house. And I just remember sitting watching that at an early screening, being blown away. And if you gave that to pretty much any other director, they don't have the skill set to do it. I always look at a film like Promising Young Woman. A lot of you think that's a good film. I'm here to tell you, if you watch it again, you're going to see exactly what I saw the first time. The tonal changes are very jarring, and Emerald did not have the skill set to do that film. When you are a first-time filmmaker, and I know I have a lot of directors who watch, and you're going to agree with me on this, you need to do what you do very well and keep it simple. Right? KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't try to do too much because you don't have all of the tools out of the box yet. Go back and watch the stream when I started way back in 2022. I think it was okay, but we're way better now because I know how this goes. I know exactly how to throw the cards because I've done this so many times and I know my shit backwards and forwards, and I haven't rehearsed this at all. I literally just jumped on and we're reading from Deadline because I have the ability to process quickly, spit it out quickly through the microphone, and hopefully put some cogent thoughts together and we can have a good discussion about this stuff. But the point is that if you look at a director who does not have the ability to do these things on film number one, then you're asking too much out of yourself. You should always try to protect yourself and not put yourself out there where you're not going to be at your best. And I'll tell you what, this is going to sound weird, but you probably agree. If you've watched some of my videos, I tape them even though they are live. There's more energy in the live shows because I know how to harness it and force it through the microphone. There's a lot of people who don't do live on YouTube, on X, and if you watch them, let me be honest with you, they're not good. Okay, I would say the majority of people who live stream are not talented. And just watch. Okay, I will blow their fucking doors off any day of the week, any time of day. You put me on a live stream, I will destroy them. It doesn't matter because this is always going to be a niche channel and it's fun. I enjoy doing it. But you know what I'm talking about. The reason they don't do live is because they can't. They know they're going to be exposed for not being that good. And if you don't have the talent and you don't have the confidence to pull it off, it's going to be a train wreck worse than Mickey 17 and Alto Nights combined. And no one wants to watch that, okay? So at least, and what I always love, all of the Weber's the worst. Let me tell you something. You know what you never say? You never say I'm bad. You know why? Because you can't fucking say it. And that's what I love. I love to stick it right in your fucking face and say, have some of this, bitch. Because at the end of the day, that's what I've got. I've got legitimate skills. And that's what we're doing here tonight as I try. By the way, just so you know, everything that I just did for the past however many minutes I ran, that's all stalling for Menzel. And I told you, did I not tell you I can stall? I literally said at the start of the screen, you didn't even know that I was stalling. Well, you maybe did. Those of you who watch, like, he's completely and utterly bullshitting right now, waiting for someone to come on live. That's what I do better than anybody. One battle after another is more action dramedy. Oh, well, listen, have you seen it? Because if you're telling me that, it's one thing. When I watched the trailer, and we can watch it again because Menzel's still not here. If he shows up, we can watch the trailer either way. But I'm here to tell you that trailer rings goofy. And what I say at the beginning about crypto, I don't want to watch that. I want to watch. Just strip it down. Give me the bare bones. Stop making some character come into your film and do something that's just weird. Like, you look at a Wes Anderson. We know what we're getting from Wes, but that kind of quirky shit, it usually doesn't work. A lot of these films that try that kind of quirky, awkward humor, it always falls flat. The humor, however, if you watch the studio, is like laugh out loud. If you have not seen episode 2 of the studio, called The Oneer, right? Like the unbroken oneer in any film such as A Boogie Nights or My Favorite Place Beyond the Pines. When you watch those shots, that's the whole episode, but it's so brilliant, okay? And also hilarious. And the best part about The Oneer, and if you haven't seen the studio, you must watch it. It's not even up for debate. It has to happen. It is imperative that you get that done. When you watch that, the way that Seth pays it off. At the beginning, when they pull their car up to the house, and at the end, oh my God, I was on the floor. I screamed. I have not screamed in laughter the way that I did at the end of that episode because it's a bookend, which is exactly what we talk about throughout that entire episode. Man, I could talk about the studio all night. I wish we could watch it live and hit pause and go, this is why this is great. And the other thing is, anyone who's ever worked in this town, as you guys know, I was on NCIS. So, I mean, I'm kind of like a big thing in the world of CBS dramas. Here, during COVID, I had a featured role on NCIS as Goon number 2. And if you go back and watch, I think it's like episode 200 or 400. I don't know. It's a lot of episodes. I never watched the show. And I was right in front of the camera with these goofy glasses on. But one thing I can tell you is being on a set, whether it's a drama, whether it's a movie, whether it's a sitcom, I've been on all those sets. That show, the studio nails exactly what it feels like to be right there in Director's Village watching them shoot this thing. Oh my God, one of the best things I've ever seen. We still don't have him. We still, let me tell you something, Menzel. I've done the best stalling I've ever done for over 10 minutes. That means now I have to move on to Lionsgate until he comes back. Let's go look at what Lionsgate did today. There's so much stuff to talk about. I was going to just do a short video. I'm like, hell no. We got a million things we can discuss here tonight. So Lionsgate was first today. They had Now You See Me 4. I don't think I even saw 2. Did 3 come out? I liked the first one, but I don't know if I ever saw 2. But this is Lionsgate, right? So we already know we're in trouble when they say, hey, everybody, Lionsgate is presenting. The red-headed stepchild of Hollywood. I mean, if any studio needs to be rebooted, it is Lionsgate. Because, well, I mean, other than Warner Brothers. But you look, the John Wick. More John Wick. An animated prequel. Ballerina plus John Wick 5. Plus, what else? Do we have a cartoon on Saturday morning like back in the 80s when they tried to tie in like serials? Do they have a John Wick serial? It's got to be next. But Lionsgate just is, like nobody cares about Lionsgate, right? They have Stephen King's The Long Walk. I will say this about Lionsgate. They do have one of my favorite filmmakers coming out here very shortly, Trey Edward Schultz. Oh, man, Krisha's awesome. Can I tell you, if you want to watch Beau is Afraid, only not sucky, watch Krisha. If you want to see an awesome first half of a film, second half not as good, watch Waves. I love Trey. I had a chance to talk to Trey at the A24 big shindig down in Hollywood about 3-4 years ago. I think it was during COVID. Was it right before 2019? I was a fanboy, geeked out over Waves. The first half of Waves, having lived in Florida, it captures the nastiness of Florida, the feel of it, just right. If you live in Florida, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's the reason why there's Florida Man. It feels like Florida. And I hope that he's able to do that. Whatever he shoots, I don't know where he shot this thing, but this next film, I just hope that he can do the same kind of magic with The Weeknd and I believe Jenna Ortega, right? The only thing that scares me about this, I believe that comes out in May, and that's not a good date. If you have a film by Trey Edward Schultz, the assumption is it at least has a shot at an awards window release. You look at Waves, a film that did not fire the way it should have. Again, the first half is truly spectacular. Second half loses steam. And if you have watched it, you know why. Because Harrison disappears. But that first half of the film, when they're in the car and the camera's spinning around, I'm like, this is great. Already, I'm into Waves. And if you haven't watched it, watch the first half and just remember what I told you. When he disappears, the film goes, wait a second. It just falls apart. But the first half is lights out shit. Also, I forgot to mention, Donnie Yen gets his own sequel. He gets a spinoff. That's what they have. I know, Stewie, I know. But that's the thing, right? If you're Lionsgate, you don't have a lot of options. You have Hunger Games, which they announced. Yes, of course, they're making another Hunger Games. John Wick, and that's it. We have 2 things. So how can we milk the fuck out of these? Let's make the Saturday morning cartoon, John Wick. Let's make the serial. Let's make Donnie Yen. Let's make, who else do we have? Do we have Ballerina? We'll get her in there, obviously. We'll make John Wick 5. What about John Wick X in space? That's coming up. That'll be next year. We have it all. Come on, guys. Can you come up with something new? Remember, this is the same studio that gave us Borderlands. Oh, did you guys watch that shit? Mass bad. I would still rather watch Borderlands again than Mickey 17. And they're both horrible. But Borderlands, at least I had fun making fun of it. Mickey 17 is pure torture. When you get to the scene where they're sitting down and having dinner, that's when the guy got up and left. I go, what? Like the first 20, 25 minutes, I think, of Mickey 17, I can't remember exactly when I said, I'm done. When you get to the dinner scene and you've got Toni Collette acting out of control, and then you, of course, have Ruffalo, you're looking at some shit that makes you want to leave, like the guy next to me. And I think there's 2 people down below that left, too. I mean, there's empty. There's like nobody in Mickey 17. And it's going to lose them hundreds of millions of dollars. So whoever greenlit that, I don't think it's even the 2 people that are in charge of Warner Brothers right now, the film heads. I think it was prior administration. Whoever greenlit that film should be fired along with everybody who said yes to it. Everybody. They're fired. There's no coming back. Okay? And I've said this multiple times. If you attach yourself to a project as truly cancerous as that film, let me explain why Mickey 17 is as bad as it is. Because I think a lot of people don't understand. It's not just about the fact that it's bad. It's the residual effect of the horribleness of that film. Here's what I'm talking about. The guy who got up and left next to me. In addition to people all over the country getting up and leaving out of that movie, you have turned them off to going to the movies. So because you're a selfish bastard of a director who made an unwatchable film, Bong, as much as you should be lauded for Parasite, Mickey 17 undoes everything. It literally trashes the legacy. This is the kind of thing that if it doesn't win every Razzie, then we aren't doing it right. I know the Razzies completely are a joke at this point, right? But if we have a legitimate worst film of the year and Mickey 17 is not a strong contender in virtually every category except for Pattinson, but even then that's really annoying. But at least I like that he goes for it. Listen, Robert Pattinson, he showed me that he can do his shit back in The Rover from A24 in 2014. I sat in that movie and I go, man, this kid's good. Okay, I didn't even think I saw Twilight, but I remember watching going, this kid's got chops. Okay, and you watch him, Cosmopolis, you look at a lot of those weird choices, Good Time, obviously. You look at those choices and I'm like, this kid, I like where his head is at. So I like him as an actor. The rest of the movie can go to hell. Horrible. But here's what, right? So now you've created a film that has made people repulsed to go to movie theaters. The guy next to me will not be back anytime soon because these people are taking time out of their day, spending money. Not everybody has A-list. You're spending $20 a ticket out here in LA, and then you watch Mickey 17. I'm done. I'm not going to do a movie again. Versus you go to see A Ballad of Wallace Island from Focus. I just saw last weekend. Comes out this weekend for a lot of you. You're going to go, oh, I'm glad I came. This makes me feel good. Yeah, I know. I just said I don't love everything to be feel good, but this film, it's not a feel good film. It has moments, but at the end, it's got humanity. It's got loss. It's got getting over the past. That's what I want to watch, and it doesn't have some weirdo goof character ruining the film. Okay, that's what we have when we watch one battle after another. It's like, why is Benicio doing what he's doing? I already know Benicio's character, even though I love Benicio. You can just tell his character is going to be like, oh. And then in Superman, I got Crypto. Oh. Why? Can't we get directors who know how to give us drama with some comedy? Not comedy with a shade of drama. I want drama with a shade of comedy. That's it. Can we flip those two things? I don't care what the audience wants. I want to deliver movies that make people think. I'm so tired of watching stuff that your brain exits your body watching when you watch a Novocaine or a Working Man or Beekeeper. Or just don't want to watch that shit. I want to watch something that entertains me but also makes me think. Quality-wise, I think Mickey 17 is mediocre. But the fact Warner Brothers released this in its current form is horrendous. Listen, again, Cameron, go back to my initial evaluation of that film. We talk about it being fine. From a technical standpoint, there's nothing wrong with the film. Effects are strong. Pattinson's good. The screenplay and the length is unforgivable, okay? At least when you watch that film, you need to know we've got to bring this in at 140. I go back and you look at the film 65 with... what's his name? Adam Driver. Okay, though a lot of you never saw this film. 65 was from Sony. Early last year, it was a dinosaur adventure on Earth. Hard to explain. Here's the thing you got to know about 65. I want you to go watch 65, but when you watch it, I want you to know that this was a film that was taken out of the Woods' hands, right? The Woods Beck. Taken out of their hands and put in committee and told, make this as short as possible. There are so many edits in that film that are horrible, but you can tell they're just like, get it over. It's like runs in at like 128, maybe 130. So they knew, Sony knew the film's bad and 65 is bad, but at least they knew to go bang, 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 get it out, get it over with. If Mickey 17 were an hour and a half, I would still hate it, but not as much as 220. You got to understand, you as a director cannot make the audience hate watching your film. And nothing makes me hate a film more than it overstaying its welcome. And how often have we sat through that? Beau is Afraid is another really textbook example of that. You're talking about a film that if it comes in at 130, 140, I'm not going to say it's one of the worst films ever made. But at almost 3 hours, it is one of the most selfish films ever made by any director. And I will tell you now, and I would never work with Ari Aster again after that. It would never happen. I don't even care what happens in the future. That is a death sentence. It's over after that film. There's no coming back, right? In Mickey 17, after that film, I'm going to tell Bong, listen, I've got to look at the script. There's no way in hell I'm going to greenlight whatever you're going to make. No way. Go back to Babylon. Same thing. When you issue a film like Babylon, Beau is Afraid, Mickey 17, you have told me that we need to cut you off. You're not getting another film anytime soon. Not on my watch. No way. I'm going to have to look over your shoulder and I'm going to have to micromanage the fuck out of you because you just gave me this shit. There's no way I'm giving you a green light on a budget. And I think even, remember, Damien said that about, I've got Menzel. 1 second. We're getting to you, Scott. Hang tight. I'm going to finish this thought about Damien Chazelle. Listen. Because of the fact that Babylon was the train wreck, total disaster that it was, I'm here to tell you, and he even said this, he'll never get that budget again. He shouldn't. Damien, let me explain something to you. Make it very simple. You should never get that budget again because what you did in that film is unforgivable. You, again, overstayed your welcome. You gave us 2 great scenes in a 3-hour film, and it is absolutely, I can't even believe, again, how selfish that film is. That is such a crime that, again, I'm not going to work with you anytime soon. Even though I loved Whiplash, I'm a big defender even of Family Man or Front Man, First Man. But when you look at that Babylon, it's over. Help me out, guys. It's over. Ladies and gentlemen, live from Las Vegas, it is Scott Menzel, who sat through how many hours of CinemaCon did you have to sit through today, Scott?
Too much, I will say. Even as a cinema fan, sitting through, I want to say 4.5 hours of this was enough. Quite enough.
Did they show a movie? Did you watch a movie or just a bunch of previews? Did they show anything? Like a movie, full movie?
No. There's no movies. I mean, outside of How You Train Your Dragon Tomorrow, which will screen at 9:30.
Okay, nice.
The only thing that will screen, apparently.
Oh, I just lost him for a second. Hold on, let's get him back. I got you. You're back. So that's the only movie you're going to get?
That's it. It's weird.
That is weird. Why do you think they're doing that? Because usually, remember, Top Gun Maverick, right, debuted there, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a little surprised they didn't show you Sinners today. You know, I wonder why they're not showing you more movies. Do they not have faith in these movies, do you think?
I mean, so I guess the most recent fiasco was the Flash, right?
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. But you know, everyone loved that film. Isn't that the weirdest thing? Can we just talk quickly about the Flash?
It's so
Remember?
Weird. It's
because
so weird.
I saw that early too. I didn't see it at CinemaCon, but I saw it like soon after, and everyone was Jones for it. Like I remember it being slammed down at the Grove. I was on the early screening, and everyone was coming out going, "This is great." And then all of a sudden, everyone turned on it, and I'm like, "What happened?" It's so weird how that happens. Everyone at first loved it, and then all of a sudden, it's the worst thing ever. It's like it's such a right. It's bandwagon city. Same thing with Joker 2. You saw it early. I saw it early. We thought it was very strong. And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, it's bad. And then everyone just goes, no, it's bad. It's weird how people do that. They just jump on the bandwagon for whatever. What's the trend? I'm going to jump on the trend.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, I mean, there's going to be a movie we're going to talk about in a few minutes from the Warner Brothers panel. That'll be very interesting to see how I didn't look at any of the reactions. Eric, did you go through the reactions from CinemaCon? Is it the normal, everything's like the best thing ever?
I saw someone say the Warner Brothers panel was pretty underwhelming. I think one of our commenters, I don't know if he's there, one of our commenters from early in the stream said the Warner Brothers wasn't that good. And wasn't that what you were saying? You texted me that. Why was it underwhelming?
Yeah, it was very underwhelming. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, here it says Thanos was right. DC was very underwhelming tonight. Lionsgate won today. Would you agree with that or not?
I thought hold on one sec. Can you hear me okay?
Do not get in a crash live on the stream. Please don't do that.
I know, but that'll be
you have
great.
to look at the camera. Okay,
live from the city of Angels.
I know, I'm from the city of Vegas. We're Vegas style tonight. Listen, but no, did Lionsgate win or not? Yes or no?
They 100% did.
What?
They
Lionsgate?
did.
Holy shit, that's bad. If you lose to Lionsgate, it doesn't get much worse. I thought Mickey 17 was the nadir. This is it tonight.
No, I actually went out of my way to text people at Lionsgate this afternoon. I was surprised at how strong their panel was. They brought so much star power out, and the movies, like, yes, they're riding very, very much on John Wick. Like, they need to move on from that franchise.
I know, right? You've got a cartoon, you've got Donnie Yen, you've got Ballerina, you got John Wick 5. What else am I missing? I mean, how many more things can they milk out of this thing? I
It's
know
too
it
much.
is. And plus, you loved 4, right? You loved John Wick 4. John Wick 4 is a perfect finale, right? But then, remember, like Hollywood, and you understand this, for all of you who don't know, if Hollywood sees a way to squeeze more cash out of a franchise, they'll do it no matter what. Look no further than the Dial to Disaster, for fuck's sake. So
No.
that's what they're doing here. Lionsgate doesn't have anything else.
I gotta tell
Hunger
you,
Games.
what makes it even more upsetting is that it seemed like, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? When they originally announced Ballerina, it was supposed to be kind of like this spin-off movie that it was Ana de Armas,
Yeah.
and all that good stuff,
Right.
which would have been great. Like I like just like send it on her, a brand new character, whatever. Now all of the footage, it keeps bringing John Wick back into it. So I'm like, do they feel like this movie can't stand on its own?
Remember the story. Remember the stories that they had to go. They test screened it, and it did really poorly. They had to go back in and reshoot and bring Keanu in for that very reason. They don't believe she can do it on her own. I'm not a big fan of Ana de Armas in this kind of movie, right? You go back and you look at The Gray Man. I mean, how is she like an action star? It's just like by default, we'll pick her. I think they know that, and I think the test audiences saw that. That's why you have to put it's desperation, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little worried about it because, like, the stunts look great, but, like, it's also, like, we've kind of come to expect this from the John Wick universe.
Yeah.
But I don't really understand. I guess this is obviously taking place somewhere in between one of the John Wick movies, right? Whether it's 4 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
It clearly has to be taking place before 4. But I don't know. Like, I want to get excited for it. Like, it looks good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it looks good. But it's just, I'm, like, so worried about, like, we need Keanu. Like, we need him. And
Okay, look,
it just keeps showing up, even in clips that they showed.
Oh, here it is. So look, so it says here, I'm on the Wikipedia page, which of course we know is the authority on everything. If it's here, it's absolutely accurate. Ballerina was in post-production in February of 2023, so over 2 years ago. In February of last year, a year later, a producer was working on additional action sequences for the film with director Len Wiseman. By March, we had more people joining the cast. And then we had Stileski, right? The guy who directed right? So he came in and oversaw 2 to 3 months of reshoots, refilming the majority of the movie. See, I knew. Exactly. And that's because the original was bad. Apparently, obviously they test screened it, or just the executives at Lionsgate finally knew that a film's bad. They didn't, obviously, with Borderlands, or what was the other one? They had like multiple terrible movies the past year, right? Remember, what was the other terrible Lionsgate? Oh yeah, of course, Megalopolis. They didn't make that. They only acquired that. But still, dude, I would still never write. I would never attach my name to that movie ever. But yeah, I mean, that's not a good sign if you have to reshoot the entire movie. But that's where Lionsgate is. So this movie, I mean, did they show you footage from Ballerina? Like, who even cares about this film? I certainly don't.
I mean, I think the people, this franchise is very valuable to John Wick. I mean, like, John Wick is very valuable to Lionsgate. So much so that, I don't know if you know this, they actually created a Vegas experience. It's called the John Wick Experience, which I'm going to try out tomorrow here in Vegas.
Yeah. Okay. So wait, they're like, they're all out on this.
They're all in. It's like their Universal theme park. It's their horror nights. Like they're going all in on this franchise.
Well, and I think, but they don't have anything else. Like we said, they've had no success outside of John Wick and Hunger Games, and those are their cornerstones. So that's their Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, right? If it is Disney, these are our 2 main things, and we're going to milk the fuck out of it. And that's exactly what we're getting. It's a shame, though, because I think Lionsgate has an opportunity, if they were smart about talent and acquisition and scripts, they could start to become kind of like a more commercial A24 Neon and release some cool films, because a lot of the stuff they put out is garbage, like the Strangers remake. Oh, one of the worst things I've ever seen, right? Yeah. So Lions, but it's good to hear that at least they had something interesting. Did you see anything that Weekend movie, the Trey Edward Schultz movie? Because I was just raving about him and Waves.
I mean, we both love Waves, and I mean that man knows how to direct a great looking movie, and this movie looks good. I think it's a movie that's made for cinephiles. I think it's going to make no money. Yep. At all.
But the Weekend could help.
Watch the trailer. I mean, Jenna Ortega may help boost that a little bit because she's starting to become like a more like bigger name, and people I think are starting to go to the movies. But then again, Death of a Unicorn did not do very well.
Nope.
So maybe not. I don't know. I'm very intrigued by it. I don't know if I'm fully sold on it, but I'm intrigued by it, and clearly like they really want to push it and they really want it to do well. I think that guy is a great visionary filmmaker, though.
Yes,
I mean,
I agree.
You always talk about this too. Like, you know, he's one of those directors that's very exciting to watch. I'm very excited to see him work.
And someone was just commenting about Waves right here. Waves is literally one of my all-time favorite films. Never forget the gut punch I felt in the theater. Yeah, especially when Kelvin Harrison Jr., we know in the middle of the film. I think the first half's way better than the second, but I know for you, I think you said you like second half. It's two different films, right? But again, just the filmmaking is electric, and that's what I want to watch. Let's get back to Warner Brothers, and let's talk about One Battle After Another, a film that I have a lot of worry about, okay? Because I'm not a fan of Inherent Vice. I know this is from the same author that he's adapting here, PTA. And what did you see in the extended scenes that you watched there at CinemaCon?
So it was essentially a scene with Leonardo DiCaprio on the phone, kind of arguing, telling him what he wants, what he needs. It was like a weird mix of like anxiety and comedy. And I don't know. There's just something about this movie, and I think you would agree with this. I watched your reaction stream. There's something about the tone of the movie that just feels off. Like I don't know what it is. It's like Benicio del Toro comes out and talks to him for a little bit, and he seems like he's in a different movie than what Leonardo DiCaprio was in. It just, something about it just doesn't feel right, and I don't know what it is about it. I don't know if you read that article that I sent you a couple days ago. Apparently it's test screened and it hasn't test screened that well.
Yes, we talked about that. And also remember, it's a $140 million film, which is insane to be profitable. Scott, you know that film's got to be 300 million plus worldwide. It's never going to get there, never. And especially if it tonally is exactly what it looks like, and you're telling me it is, I have a feeling this is going to go really far south for them. It just feels like we are setting up for a major just disaster. It really does.
I mean, you and I have both said this. I mean, you know, I'm very worried about Warner Brothers as a studio right now. I said this. I did a reaction stream last night to day one at CinemaCon, and it is always Warner Brothers panel is by far the panel that I usually walk out of, and I'm always like high, like I'm high as a kite, like I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited for all these things. And today I walked out of that panel and I was so underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Just underwhelmed. And it was just like everything that they showed, like this Bride movie.
Yes.
Now listen,
Gyllenhaal.
I like, you and me like Joker 2, okay?
Yep.
This fucking movie looks like Joker 2. Like it looks like Joker 2. Like it's like Christian Bale and Jesse Buckley kind of in like a joke, like instead of it's Joker and Harley Quinn, it's like Frankenstein and his bride.
Oh no.
It literally looks like that. And I talked to a bunch of people afterwards and everyone kind of said like, oh, it looks like Joker 2, like it's not good. And it's like, and it's funny because I'm wondering, I've seen all the reactions online. Everyone's kind of like, oh, it looks great. And I'm like, but you're the people who hated Joker 2, and this kind of gives Joker 2 vibes.
Well, first of all, okay, Scott, let me stop you there. When does someone actually have the balls to say something looks terrible. They just don't, right? That's the people that they're like on crack. It's the best thing ever. Everything, like you said from the beginning when we talked to you, everyone typically comes out of CinemaCon, this is amazing, this is great, this is the best thing, and that's the issue. We don't have anyone going, this didn't look good. Right, and you're doing some of that here tonight. If I were there, I'd probably be hammering all this. Certainly one battle after another. I know some people are probably pissed, like, oh, he's not giving the film a chance. I'll always give the film a chance when it comes out. But I called, remember, we talked about Mickey 17. I called it months before it came out. I said, this is going to be another Megalopolis. You can tell the release date, and it was. You saw Mickey 17. We didn't talk about it. How awful is that film? It's unwatchable.
I mean, you use this a lot, but I would honestly say it's going to be hard to top as the worst movie of the year.
That's what we said, 100%. It's that terrible. And I said this, Scott. I know Scott doesn't agree with this, but it's fine. I'm going to say it because he knows. I go as far as saying this. If you find anybody who recommends Mickey 17, you can disregard everything they say about anything, any topic for the remainder of time on this planet. That is how you cannot be wrong. We talk about gray area films, and you and I have gotten into those about those films that you like more, right? And I can even see Joker 2, how someone, but not Mickey 17. There is no room for negotiation. None, not even a millimeter. That film is garbage, and it should have never been released. I would have Batgirled it. And Warner Brothers is in big trouble. You've got the two chairs, right? They're very close to losing their jobs. And what you have coming up here, if one battle after another goes as south as I'm expecting, and I think you think too, that is going to be another absolute torpedo. The battleship's going to be sunk.
No,
and they're going to have to reboot.
I'm worried about that. I'm worried about F1. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. I keep hearing all these people going like it's going to make a ton of money. And I'm like, what was a racing movie? Like, remember what the budget is on this movie. It's a massive budget. I think it's like
they all are.
Million,
they're all 200 million plus. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, like, what racing movie has made $400+ million in recent years? Like, in the last decade or 2 decades, please show me this movie.
But you
because I don't even think Ford v Ferrari made that much.
No, it didn't. But here's the thing, though. One thing I think you maybe don't know, and this is fun. Listen, I'm not a huge fan. F1, the sport, is massive globally, especially in Europe. So I think Warner Brothers, remember, this isn't really their film.
For international.
Yeah, yes, correct. So Apple's really Apple's money, right?
Yeah,
Warner Brothers is helping them out. But the thing is this is one of these films that's going to end up being bigger international than domestic. You look at like a film like Twisters was massive domestic and low international. Wicked, higher domestic, lower international.
Yep.
This is going to be one of those international, way bigger than it is in the States. No question about it.
So it's going to do the opposite of Superman, where Superman's going to do better in the States and worse internationally because it's such an Americana kind of movie.
Yes, exactly. I mean, ideally what you want is equal cash or even better, like a, 1 to 1.5. You want it closer. You want them to be close. But hey, they'll take it. If the international's insane and the domestic's okay, it's all good. But Apple fronted that film largely. I don't know what Warner Brothers is on the hook for, but I will say I'm thrilled that at least Apple's giving us F1 in theaters in IMAX, right? It's something that feels like an event film. And you know this, the marketplace is dictated now by event films. These other films are getting slaughtered. Death of a Unicorn, Magazine Dreams, whatever you throw out there, any small film, it's not doing well right now. You need these event films, and we haven't had one since Deadpool Wolverine, Moana 2. I mean, it's been forever.
Yeah, I think Moana 2 was technically the last event film.
And that wasn't even an event for us. Like, that's not for me. I never saw it. I mean, I have no, but yes, over $1 billion, and it's a family film, all that stuff. But we haven't had a Deadpool Wolverine or go back to a Barbenheimer. You look at those films that were just doing massive numbers. We haven't had one of those. And the multiplexes they have to have that. This weekend, Minecraft is actually going to help. You watch. It'll end up being bigger than Snow White, obviously. It'll be more than 40 million, right? So it'll do 60, 75. Who knows what? It's one of those films that's weird because it's such a young audience that it's hard to track. You don't know exactly how high it's going to go. I think it doesn't even matter about the reviews. I think the reviews, it doesn't matter. It has nothing. The critics don't.
Like, in the room, they mentioned it today. And you can tell, like, all the press people were, like, very quiet about it because I know the reactions are very, like, lukewarm at best. So like, but I agree with you. I don't think it matters. I think it's a movie that there's nothing really else out for families, and obviously everyone's avoiding Snow White like the plague. So it's
I know.
kind of like what other option do I have? And
Yeah.
there's nothing out. There's a lot of great small movies. We talked about this, like Bob Trevino likes it. I mean, that to me right now, best movie of the year. And
Ballad of Wallace Island. Which one do you like
Wallace
more?
Island, another great movie.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody's seeing it.
Nope.
Those movies, those are the two best movies of the year right now, hands down. No
and
question
also
about
Companion. Did you like Companion?
it was fine.
Okay, I liked it a lot more, but that's fine. But I probably will see the Trevino movie. I just put it off. The title's terrible, and so is the title.
Yeah,
the title for Ballad of Wallace Island's terrible.
Yep,
like
I know.
what? Hey, go see this movie called The Ballad of Wallace Island. You're like, what? No.
Yeah.
Like you got to think about titles. The movie poster's not good for that. We talked about that. But the movie itself is charming. Oh my God, right? It made me happy to be in a movie theater. But those films just aren't working. So now we have to wait for Minecraft. What's after that? What's the next big film? Is it Mission Impossible?
No.
Is F1 before Mission Impossible? I got. Hold on, let me pull up the schedule. But I know what's after Minecraft. I mean, we've had such a dead zone lately. I've forgotten everything is coming.
Thunderbolts.
Oh, that's right. Did they? Oh wait, when is Disney's? Are they coming up? When are they? Tomorrow?
Thursday.
Who's tomorrow there in Vegas?
Universal and Amazon Studios.
So what? Let's just look ahead to tomorrow with Universal. We're looking at Wicked.
Oh, for sure.
And what else?
Um.
Do they have another huge film this year?
I mean, Wicked is all they really kind of need, right?
Yeah, I mean, correct. Yeah, it'll be an awards film, too. So it doubles up as a box office play and an awards play, Oscars play, especially being a part two. But then you look at Amazon. Amazon will have, what the hell's their big film
Simple
this year?
Favor 2.
Okay.
They'll have The Accountant 2, which they already have, like, buzz and
Wait, Simple Favor 2 is already out. Isn't it on streaming?
No, not until May.
Oh, shit. I thought it was already out. Okay,
No.
But it's not theatrical, is it?
I think they are giving it a small theatrical push.
Okay. But I know Accountant 2 is. But what else? What's Amazon's big award film this year? They have one?
They
like
probably will announce it on I'm going to guess they're going to announce it on tomorrow night.
Yeah, you're right. They'll say, here it is, we acquired, or this is our thing. I'm looking ahead to the schedule, and I don't see it's bad, man. I mean, the next couple weeks after
they
Sinners,
have this new
Sinners is coming.
Jordan Peele movie that like the posters at CinemaCon. I think it's called Him or something like that.
Okay.
It seems like they're going to probably push that big time. It seems like that's a big push right now.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I think that we just have to hope that we can get through the next several months because right now it's been bad. Movie theaters are hurting, and we need, as much as you might not want to see it, and I'm not touching Scott, everybody, you want to watch Minecraft, doesn't matter. It needs to do well for theaters, okay? And also, we need to start supporting these small films. I talk about it a lot here. I know you're talking about, too, the Wallace Islands, the Magazine Dreams. I know some of you didn't want to because of Jonathan Majors, but it's a very good film, one of my favorite films of the year. When you look at the stuff that's out there, we just need these little films to start doing better. I don't know if it'll happen again. I don't, but it's just that's what the mission is because we don't have just a diet of Minecrafts and Mission Impossibles, even though I like Mission Impossible. But we just want to have a more varied diet.
No, what's really making a comeback, and like one of my favorite trailers today from Lionsgate was actually a movie called The Housemaid, which is directed by Paul Feig, and it's with Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried, and it's based on a popular book. I mean, I'm actually kind of thrilled that book adaptations are doing well right now, just mainly because they're offering variety in the marketplace.
Right.
Like, I was so depressed when I walked out. I mentioned this yesterday about the Sony panel. Like, it's just like reboot. It's like, oh, Resident Evil. I know what you did last summer. It's like, oh my God, guys, right. like, give me some original ideas. So like, and I mean, I know it's already an IP because it's a book, but like, at least it feels different. Like I watched the trailer. I'm like, oh, it's a thriller, kind of a mystery thing. Great. I'll take this. Give me 10 of these, please.
What about the Beatles? Tell me what you think, because I think, you look at that coming out 4 different versions, right, of each of the Beatles.
It's a ballsy fucking move.
I know, but listen, April of 2028, you're going to get one every weekend. Okay, here's what I think, right? Everyone's going to be excited for the first one, maybe a little the second one. By the time the third one's out, you just watch. It's going to go like this. So as much as Sony thinks that's going to work and the Beatles are the biggest group of all time, it still is going to come down to people are like, I've had enough. And 4 movies in a row, even I and you who go to movies all the time are like, that's enough. The average person's like, nah, not doing it.
and you got to remember that they're all kind of standalone ones. They're going to have they're going to be intertwined stories, but they're told, from the Beatle perspective, right? So it's like, if you're a bigger fan of, like, obviously we can call this right now, right? The John Lennon and Paul McCartney one is going to do better than
of course.
the Ringo Starr one.
And the George Harrison.
That's,
we already know 100%. 100%. This is someone has a good question. Is the Beatles movie now in awards? Well, I mean, it's April, right? Listen, here's the deal. So it's very simple. The majority of films that contend for trophies in Oscars and in awards overall, they come out in that awards window, and you know that, Scott. September on, right? You got your Telluride, your Toronto, Venice, all that stuff. If it doesn't debut there or come out in that window, it's much harder to pull through the entire year. There have been examples of films that were able to do that, certainly recently. Everything Everywhere. You go back and you look at Get Out.
Amelia Perez. Like,
Anora was, but Anora came out. Anora came out like in August, right? Wasn't it? Was it September?
See, that's the difference thing now. So it's getting kind of like skewed, right? Because they're sort of going to Cannes now, pushing movies out to kind of build up buzz.
Yes.
To release them later in the year in September and October.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. The premiere, here's the thing. Cannes, for sure, Parasite can. But here's the thing. But in general, that is the trend, and I like that. Because I think Cannes, if I was going to go to one festival, I would pick Cannes because those are my kind of movies. Substance was there last year. Anora, fuck no. Here's the deal. I wish, Scott, that I was at Cannes last year, because I truly believe, as vocal as I was saying Anora was a load of trash, that I could have curtailed this entire thing. Instead, I had to start fighting the war in October. That's what in October. It was already too late. They'd already spent $20 million on this garbage film. Yes, Anora's garbage. Do not get that wrong. Scott, you know I'm right. Not a good film. The worst Best Picture in the history of the Oscars. There is no contest. It's not up for debate, guys. And the thing is though, in general, you want it. Why? Because of recency bias, right? Scott, you know that. It's hard to start talking about Companion, even if I love the movie. It was in January. Good luck remembering that in October, November. Yeah. You're like, what's the new hottest thing? Especially in this town. What's debuting right now, right? You look at even a film, the Dylan doc, right? That showed up last second. Searchlight likes to do that a lot. They did that with Nightmare Alley. Drop it the last possible thing, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't.
It's bad because it really hurts the movie, I think, from winning. I think it gets in with enough time to kind of push it for nominations because it's fresh in everyone's mind.
Yeah.
But I think the really big issue is that we've started to see this new trend where stuff that's dropped the last minute may see some nominations, but the wins don't really turn over now.
That's a good point. And I think, this is a world of buzz now, isn't it? Where it feels like whatever the narrative is, and Nora had the narrative, right? Oh, but it won at Cannes. I don't care. I don't care what it won. Okay, this is a bad film. They didn't know what they were doing. I'm tired of this whole, because this person said it's great, it's great. You make your own decisions up, okay? And I know, Scott, you're the same way I am. You've never said something's good because this group said it was the best film.
Yeah.
They've missed a lot, okay? It's happened a lot. I'm not just talking about Cannes, but in general, just because, and I still think we're on the right side of history about Joker 2, by the way. We are. Yeah. We are, and I'm 100% right. Scott, I'm going to let you roll because I know you're there. You got things to do. He's in Vegas. He doesn't want to hang out with us. He wants to go and play the slots. But maybe if I don't do tomorrow, I know we're back on Thursday. Will you join us on Thursday for sure?
Depending on the time, I might be able to sneak in for a little bit.
Sounds good. Just give me the window and we'll make it work. And no one stretches better than me. You know that. I just on and on.
But I gotta say, there's this like there's a lot of talks about your favorite thing, Eric. Your
Uh-oh.
windows. It's
Oh, the
like
windows.
topic,
Yep.
the
We're going
topic
to
of
talk.
conversation.
Yep. And what are people saying?
They're just sort of like they're not really giving like they're using old data. I think which is
Ugh.
kind of part of the problem is that they can't figure it out. Like I think that's the problem that everyone's facing right now is that they're using data from pre-pandemic, pre-TikTok, and I don't think they realize that the way we consume things is much differently now.
Yes, 100%.
And
I agree.
and I know like it's like they don't want to hear it because they love theirs like look at the numbers, these are facts. It's like yeah, I know, like you can go through the history books too, but like people are going to have different viewpoints on that as well. Like it's not I'm so tired of hearing about it. I know it's only day 2, but like everyone has like these conversations and it's just like it's strategy. There's so many more things that need to go into this plan that they're not discussing. It's not this simple as they want it to be.
Well, here, I'll make it simple and we'll let you run. Here's the deal. The studios don't want the windows. It's that simple. They want to control it.
Well,
right?
Of course they don't want the window. Of course they don't want the windows because first of all, let's just call it as it is. There's just too much fucking content being made.
100%.
And like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like half of this shit, like I know people are different, like there's content versus cinema and whatever what is. And there's just so much filler. There's so many filler movies and the state of the industry is like everything's dying. It's really, really upset. Yes, I read this earlier.
Yep. Did you hear him say this, or is this the article? He didn't talk. It's tomorrow's. So Universal's like, listen, we made $100 million on premium VOD from Wicked, and we're like, but here's the thing. We've talked about this a million times, and I could go on for an hour raging about this. I was talking, first of all, everybody who watches MMT knows this. I was talking about Windows way before it was trendy. Way before Sean Baker. I'm not talking about weeks. I'm talking about years before Sean Baker.
Yeah.
So I've been on this way before anybody else because I see trends, and the trend was we needed Windows. But look at the Wicked, right? The Universal head's like, we made $100 million. I don't care. I work for the theaters, and the theaters don't give a shit how much you made. And he's like spinning it, going, hey, we'll do things. No. Again, you go in with a no-nonsense negotiation like you're seeing with the Doge shit, whether you agree with it or not. It's like, you're done. And I'm telling you right now, I'm throwing a window. It's a 45-day window for everybody. I don't care how much you made on Wicked.
See, that's the problem, though. Like right now, the first of all, everyone needs to cut back on what they're making. Stop it. Like just
well, the cash.
Every studio release 5 movies a year and make them fucking great. Good to great. Like stop making mediocre nonsense. Make the stuff great. I mean, I sit there in CinemaCon and they always show the history, like in all these movies, in all these panels. The history is of the studios. Like they showed New Line Cinema today. And I'm like watching all these fucking great movies that I grew up with, like The Mask and all these movies that like they would never make today. Like just really good, solid movies. Again, not like Oscar award-winning movies, but good, fun movies. They just don't know how to do that anymore.
Because they virtue signal. You know that.
They're signaling like crazy.
Yeah,
like
and it's also the
seen.
DEI. Listen, and you guys know I'm not even the DEI channel. And Scott, you don't have to say, I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, not the DEI channel. I'm not the anti-woke channel. I'm not. But here's the problem. We have people in positions of power who are always going to say, well, this is a story that comes from this view. We have to represent. No, we don't. We don't have to represent everybody. The hell we do. We're going to represent this filmmaker who has a vision on what this film is. I'm so tired of having to box check and talk about that crap. I don't want to talk about it anymore. We didn't talk about it when I was growing up and the kids. We watched... I say the story all the time. I used to watch Fat Albert all the time, but I didn't think about the kids being different from me. They were kids. Why was it all? Why now it's everything has to be about that. For God's sake, just make a great movie. But we just don't have that because it's all this world of how can I get points on this and that, and how can we get the best minority female director? And no one's saying that you shouldn't try. But I'm telling you, I'm never going to make that decision over talent. It's going to be talent number one, and everything else is a distant number two.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem, and I mean if you talk to a lot of filmmakers, if you talk to a lot of writers, if you talk to a lot of TV people who are in TV, and you have off the record conversations with them, they're going to mention that. They're going to say the crop of talent or the pool of talent, they're not getting those people now because they're kind of being sucked up by like the big places, right? Like you're going to want like if you're a show, right? Like if you're a director of a series, are you going to want to work with ABC on network television, or are you going to want to work with HBO? Like, who are you going to pick first, right?
Exactly. You're going to go. And how about the Netflix who just throws money at you?
Exactly.
Make whatever you want.
So you're going and you're getting these tiers, right? So when you're going in and you're like fishing from a pool, you're sort of left with this. This is what you got. This is the best you can get. And I heard this from a lot of my writer friends and my showrunner friends is that these mandating things is not good. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try to find the best possible candidate.
Correct.
And you should kind of try to look for things, but mandating things is bad. And that's the problem is when you have mandates.
Well, and that's what I said. I said I would love to, and I know if Warner Brothers fires their co-film chairs, I'm here to throw the two of us out there right now. You and I could come in. This isn't a joke, guys. This is not a fucking joke. You and I could come in because we could be there. We could be there tomorrow morning by 8. You could get there. You could drive. Yeah. We could be there tomorrow morning, and the meeting would be fucking lights out. We would just come in and go, here's what we're going to do now. I don't know what the plan has been, what you've been doing. I have no idea. I'm just going to tell you, we're making great movies. And if Scott and I don't think these are great movies, we're going to cancel the project, and we're just not going to start greenlighting all this shit. I mean, you guys made Mickey 17 for fuck's sake. You should all be embarrassed. All of you put your heads down. This is an embarrassment. And I'm here to tell you, we're not doing that again. We're never making another Mickey 17. And if you, as we start this meeting, I'm just going to have to do this. It's going to be a slaughtering to start. If you said we should release Mickey 17, put your hand up. And then there, all of you are out. Goodbye. Hit the road. Get their stuff. The guards outside. Walk them off the lot. But that's what we need. We need people here. And the problem is whoever they install at Warner Brothers is part of the good old boy network. They've been in Hollywood. They're all part of the system. We need some disruptors in there. You hear about that all the time. You and I are the disruptors. I certainly as hell am. And I can promise you this. If you put us there, we're going to make great movies. And I'm never going to answer the question, is this diverse enough? No, we're not. Sorry. Did you just ask me? What did you just say? Did you just say that to me? Because I'm going to tell you one more time. Do not ever ask me that question again. We're making the best movie. End of discussion. I don't want to even ask me, did I box check? Are you kidding me? You're fired. Get out of here. We're not doing that. And until we get back to that no-nonsense, fearless approach to dealing with this, instead of pussyfooting around, am I going to hurt someone's feelings? Too fucking bad. I'm here. I will hurt your feelings, and you will move on with your day. That's how we're going to do it. And Scott, until we get that back in the realm of the workplace, we are going to suffer with these films.
I mean, until we get budgets back in check. I mean, like, listen, I mean, let's just say, like, not every movie appeals to everyone, right? But, like, Joker wouldn't have been that big of a deal if the budget didn't double on it. Like, you just kind of say, like, I'm sorry, like, no. Like, we'll give you more money on the residuals.
Well, same thing with Mickey 17,
like
right? Exactly.
Or something. Like you do the Tom Cruise route.
Right,
like,
you back end. Or like Robbie Downey Jr. in Avengers, he got like a shit ton of cash. Like you don't even know how much, but it was like billions probably at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like these budgets are so like I'm just like watching these movies and I'm just saying like how much are they throwing into this movie?
Yeah, no one's saying no. They're all saying yes, and they're saying yes to the wrong things, right? And again, like I said, back to Mickey 17, not only have you turned people off to going to the movies when you sit through that film, you've also ruined future projects because you spent 140, whatever, 120, 140 on that film, and that ruins opportunities for future filmmakers because they're like, we don't have any money anymore. Bong burnt us. And that's the other thing, the residual damage that is left over from a Mickey 17, from an Alto Nights. They're not going to take risks in the future because of those films.
Right.
Oh, Citadel Elf, it's garbage. It's a garbage film. 100%. I know Scott is 100% with us. Yeah, all right, Scott, I'll let you run off. Listen, we'll see either tomorrow or Thursday or neither Maybe Sunday. But either way, we'll have him back on soon. That's Scott Menzel live from Vegas. Everyone say goodbye to Scott. Scott, you're the man.
Bye,
Thank you, sir.
everyone.
All right. If I get the call from Warner Brothers, we'll have you back here shortly. We'll see you in the morning. We'll be down the street. I'm telling you, Olive is right here. Okay. I can be in the boardroom at Warner Brothers with Zaslav, and we'll get that shit done at 8. Give me 8:30. Let me just get up and put a little extra gel in the hair and comb the mustache just a bit, and we'll get in there and start just listen. What have you greenlit? Nope, that's out. Goodbye. That project's done. Call everybody on the set and say it's gone. It's just been canceled. We're going to write that thing off because that's what we need. We just have to get back to a no nonsense. This is not going to fly. And you look at one battle after another. I was going to show you the trailer, but I'm frankly burnt. We'll watch it again maybe on Thursday or Sunday. Just going back to watching that trailer. When you give these directors a PTA, even though as much as we admire him and he's one of the esteemed directors in Hollywood, you cannot give them carte blanche. If you give these directors carte blanche on a Beau is Afraid, on a Babylon, on it looks like one battle after another, you are now destroying future projects by that decision. You have to, listen, and here's the other half, and Scott touched on this. When you have the budget at 130, you cannot be making a niche movie. You need to make a movie that is not necessarily 4 quad, but it needs to be at least 3. It needs to be 3.5, I would hope. Once you start getting a budget that high, I cannot have you playing in your tiny little sandbox. I need you to be at the beach. This shit has to be accessible to the public, okay? Not a private beach in Malibu. Well, the old private beach. No longer there. Sorry. When you look at the ability to create a film that is accessible to the vast majority of filmmakers, of moviegoers. And the problem is the filmmakers are not making those films. They're making their own little personal passion projects, and they are wrecking movies. Mickey 17, Babylon, Beau is Afraid. 35 million Beau is Afraid, Mickey 17, 120 plus, and Babylon was at least 100 and some odd, maybe it's 200. It was insane. And because of that, the money spent is now in the trash, and now I have no money. I'm penniless because you left me barren, and not only that, theaters are suffering because they sat through those films. We have to turn this around. And until we get people in positions of power who have no fear, do not care about checking boxes and making certain that this person is okay with it. No. We're making the movie. We're going to make Tropic Thunder 2, and I don't care if it pisses off half of the world. I am telling you, we're going to make it. And we're going to make Blazing Saddles again. We're going to make a nut. We're going to go there. We're not going to play this game anymore of is someone offended. I don't care. That's the news. I don't give a shit. You can't have a spineless, no. You've got to say, we're doing this, and you're either going to be in or you're out. You're with us or you're against us, and I don't care if you're against me, okay? That's very simple, and that's all we have to do, and it sounds easy, but the problem is the people in this town do not have the capacity to will that into existence, and until we do, we're not going to be able to go back to what Scott was discussing, films that matter to everyone, that have an impact on society, and we just don't have that all-encompassing Top Gun Maverick where the entire universe is all in on this zeitgeist blasting film, and we just don't have that anymore. I want to have it back. We've got to go there. Let's do it. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Thanks for being here. I was just going to do like a short video. Look, an hour and 20 minutes. Now, granted, Menzel talked for a lot of it, but hey, listen, hour and 20 is all you get. I'm done, man. I'm going to bed. By the way, for those of you paying attention tonight, it's April Fool's, right? And because of that, I went with Southampton. If you are following your football/soccer here in the States, you know that Southampton is the biggest fool of a team at the bottom of the table with, I believe, 9 points. So that's why we have Southampton on tonight. It's always on purpose. It's designed to work in synergistic manner. Let's bring this. It's Comment Blast Closeout. I'm going to bring out tonight's track again, which gets me in trouble. Just, every time I play these tracks, guess what happens? I get in trouble because it's like a copyright. I don't care. It's April Fool's Day, and I love the intro to The Who's. Won't get burned again. Let's do it. Comet Blast closeout here on this Tuesday night. Gone Girl, go. Yes, this is one of my favorite comments of all time. Nice work. Worst film of the year. Be hard to beat. Mickey 17. Tropic Thunder 2. Climate Binary. Fine. Great. Let's go. Bring back Stiller. Bring back Downey Jr. Bring back Tom Cruise. Let's make it about Les Grossman, for God's sake. I am going to watch that. It's funny you say that. I believe that's what's happening. As soon as I'm off, I'm going to go watch episode 3. We'll talk about it on Thursday night. I can't wait to watch 3 because 1 and 2 are amazing. I'm watching these with you. I can watch all of them tonight, but I'm watching them with you guys so I don't get too far ahead. Not soon, Coach. I mean, I was at the gym today. I did back. I'm a little tired. I've been working in like full on like 15 rep pull-ups. I mean, I'm going back to my youth, man. I'm turning it back. I'm the Benjamin Button of the film space, baby. Is an anti-woke film studio possible to create? I don't know, Citadel. I'm just telling you I'm the leader. Not Gore. That guy's, he's a joke. We're not a joke. We're the real fucking deal, baby. Did you see the trailer of the Karate Kid Legends? Yeah, it wasn't bad. I didn't watch the final episode. I'll try to. Wild Man Beyond. I've told you I've met everybody on the show. Terry Silver was at my gym like a year and a half ago, and I was like shaking when I went up to talk to him. Terry Silver, I've loved you since Karate Kid 3 in 1989. Depends on what kind of show, a sitcom, ABC. Oh, you're saying ABC or HBO. Yeah, I mean, I'll just go where the money is, and they'll let me do largely what I want. Because here's the deal. I have a responsibility. I'm not going to make a film that's totally unwatchable or a show that isn't accessible by a lot of people. Even though I told you guys I like my depressing films and I want to be grounded and I want to watch a Tar. I understand a Tar is not for everybody. So I'm going to make a Tar, cross it with something like Holdovers. Huh. Hey, I might have just described the movie we wrote. Scott's message to Hollywood, stop it, exactly. Stop doing that. He's too nice. I would definitely say it way more curtly, as it were. Other comments before we get out of here on this Tuesday night. Always a pleasure, guys. Peele needs a win because his last few haven't been a hit. Coach, I mean, I like his filmmaking. Jordan Peele makes cool films. And I go back and you look at Nope, the sound design. In an IMAX, that film just slapped, right, as the kids say. Do they still say that? It's probably outdated, whatever. I mean, I was just blown away. And I saw it multiple times in IMAX because I just love the feel of it. I think the screenplay's got issues. Don't get me started on Gordy. Don't get me started on Gordy. But I like the idea. It just doesn't mesh. That's a great, man. You ask me how to mesh. Gordy does not mesh with Nope. I don't care what you tell me. It doesn't mesh. It's two different things. We didn't mesh it. Meshing is when Parasite, you're able to bring in the tonal shifts and make things work that shouldn't work. And rarely does that happen. That's why those are the films that are the best, right? The ones that are high wire acts that are able to be executed. A lot like MMT. Amazon has Luca's After the Hunt. Luca made 2 really cool films last year. Obviously, challengers I like more than Queer, but Queer movie making, filmmaking, Luca from a directorial standpoint, singular directorial imprint, love him, and I love the choices he makes. Certainly, music usage, another really strong thing from Luca. Megan 2.0, oh, I mean, at least it knows it's a goof film. I'll probably have fun with it. Megan was okay. It's fine, right? I mean, I just don't want to watch Beekeeper, A Working Man, Novocaine. What's the next one with Rami Malek? I think I have a ticket for that Saturday night. Oh, wish me luck, guys. Universal has Jurassic World. Yes, indeed. Even though it's a reboot, another fucking Jurassic World. Here comes some more dinosaurs. Even though ScarJo's in it. ScarJo's super hot. I don't care if she's married. She's super hot. Don't act like she's not, guys. I don't believe these movies actually cost them. Yeah, you know what? Citadel, I've talked about this a lot. I feel like there's definitely some money laundering going on. Because there's no way, like, you look at a film like One Battle After Another. How the hell did it cost $140 million? How much you pay Leo? 100? I mean, it's got to be. He's got to be making 100 million. And then PTA gets 40, and then the movie costs like another $1 million. I mean, it just doesn't, right? There's no effects. I don't understand where this money goes. It's got to go to the stars and the directors. But they're overpaid. Not Leo. Leo I'd pay. because he'll bring butts to the seats, even though Killers of the Flower Moon didn't do incredible numbers worldwide. How did Hypnotic cost 65? Great example. I mean, what a movie. Hypnotic. We talked about how that ruined the studio. Remember Solstice Studios? They folded after that shit. Also, hey, I want to mention this too, and I know JT watches the show from time to time. What happened to Magenta Light Studios? Remember they came out with Strange Darling, and I was there for the premiere, and they were like, we're going to release movies every month. They're done. They have not released a movie since August. That's what I'm talking about. And they don't even have a tweet since August. Like, what happened to Magenta Light? That's the thing. These little films are getting destroyed, and no one wants to make little films anymore. They're probably stealing money. I mean, listen, we know that from the industrial complex of homelessness out here. People are how much billions have we put into homeless? And wherever you go in LA, there's homeless. Everywhere. RVs, even here in Burbank. All of a sudden, I'm seeing homeless, like, on the street. And listen, I'm not talking about the plight of the homeless. I'm talking about, why aren't you fixing it? Where's the money going? How about the high-speed rail here? That's what, you don't think, man, there's so much corruption in this world. And the one thing I'll say, I'm never going to be corrupt. It's never going to happen. I have no interest in it. I have interest in truth. I've always told you guys I'm a Libra. That's why I'm so fair, because I'm always about being fair. And when I'm not fair, it just doesn't feel right. It's like, it doesn't work. I've got to make sure that I'm grounded and being objective and fair in everything. Sometimes it sounds like I'm not being objective, but I've been objective, and then I'm done. Then it's time to call the shot. And the shot is Mickey 17's the worst fucking thing I've seen in a long time. Looking forward to Mission Impossible 8. Nervous it won't be as good as the other ones. The last one was very good. It got buried by that release date. It should have done better. Remember, it was sandwiched between like Spider-Verse and Barbenheimer. So right in between then and in Disaster of Dial Disaster, all that summer had too many films. Wasn't Jurassic World that year too? It was crazy. 2023 was like, here are all the films we've been working on during COVID. They should have spaced them out better. And as such, I think our song's about over. It's like 8 minutes. God, I just go on forever and ever. That's it, guys. Thanks for being here live. I'm going to let it just fade out. Thanks for being here live from City of Angels. See you next time. Either tomorrow, definitely Thursday night. Minecraft. We'll see how that turns out. See